From a weeping ghost in Wuhan to a bridge in Virginia with a satanic reputation, and another that's been making dogs jump to their doom for decades. These are cursed bridges with disturbing backstories you'll never forget. Bridges are supposed to get you from one place to another, but the Wuhan Yangtze River Bridge might just take you somewhere you're not ready to go. If the stories are true, a ghostly woman in white haunts this bridge, endlessly mourning the betrayal that led to her tragic fate. Legend has it that she was deeply in love, but when her partner left her, she was overcome with grief. With nowhere to turn, she threw herself into the dark waters below, her final cries swallowed by the river. Now she continues to linger. Late night drivers report seeing a woman wandering the bridge, weeping softly. One man swore he saw her from a distance, her cries somehow reaching his ears, even over the hum of his car. He slowed down and rolled down his window to ask if she needed help, but big mistake. When she turned to him, what he saw was this ghoulish face glaring at him with pure seething anger. Before he could react, she lunged at his car. Panicked, he floored it, heart pounding, and when he finally decided to glance in the rearview mirror, she was gone. With a name like Satan's Bridge, you already know you're in for a bad time. The official name is State Line Bridge in Cascade, Virginia, but if you ask the locals, they'll probably share some stories they've heard about rituals, ghost sightings, and just plain bad energy. And there's footage to back some of it up. In 1999 and 2000, a guy named Chris Childrey decided to film what he found under the bridge, and what he captured is enough to make your skin crawl. There were piles of animal carcasses, including dogs and deer, all dumped in a ditch. The stench of death was overwhelming, and while some claim these are just roadkill cleanup spots, others talk about how something far darker might be at play. It didn't help that black candles and pentagram-shaped rock formations were also found nearby, and here's where it gets really weird. People visiting the bridge often report hearing voices and growls when no one else is around. Some say they've seen shadowy figures moving beneath the bridge, and a few unlucky ones claim their cars have shut off while parked near it. Maybe it's just a creepy old bridge with some local legends, or maybe it's earned its nickname for a reason. If you love your dog, which you probably should if you have one, do not bring it to Overtoun Bridge in Scotland. This picturesque stone bridge near Dumbarton, Scotland looks harmless enough, but for some bizarre, unexplained reason, dogs have been leaping off it to their deaths for decades. Since the 1950s, over 50 dogs have jumped from the exact same spot, and no one can figure out why. Some dogs have even survived the first fall, only to immediately run back and jump again, as if something is compelling them to do it. Animal behaviorists, scientists, and even ghost hunters have tried to explain this. Some think there's an undetectable sound or a strange scent, maybe from mink or other wildlife below, that's just driving dogs to jump. But others believe that this bridge is just downright haunted. There's even an old legend that the area is what's called a thin place, where the boundary between the living and the dead is weaker. Emily's Bridge, a place so scenic yet so disturbingly haunted. Found in Stowe, Vermont, this covered wooden bridge has all the charm of a postcard until you learn about Emily. Legend has it that Emily was a young woman, madly in love, planning to run away with her fiancé, but on the day of their secret elopement, she waited at the bridge for hours and he just never showed up. Heartbroken and humiliated, really, she took her own life, but her spirit never left the bridge. And now visitors to the bridge report eerie encounters, and not just, harmless, ghostly whispering and sounds and stuff. People claim to hear angry screams, disembodied footsteps, and scratches appearing on their cars after driving through at night. One driver said that his engine sputtered and died in the middle of the bridge, and in the silence, he heard soft sobbing coming from the darkness. Others say they've seen a pale figure in white just standing there, watching them. Texas is home to some pretty wild legends, but few are as unsettling as the tale of the Goat Man of Old Alton Bridge. This bridge, sitting between Denton and Copper Canyon, has become a hotspot for ghost hunters, hoping to catch a glimpse of something that's not quite human. The story traces back to the 1930s, when a black goat farmer named Oscar Washburn set up his homestead near the bridge. Locals, impressed by his success, started calling him the Goat Man. but not everyone was happy about him being there. In 1938, a group of men allegedly connected to the Ku Klux Klan dragged Washburn from his home, put a noose around his neck, and threw him off the bridge. But when they looked down, the rope was empty. His body was never found though. Since then, people claim that if you cross the bridge at night with your headlights off, just like the men did that night, you'll summon the Goat Man. Witnesses report seeing shadowy figures lurking in the woods, glowing red eyes watching from the darkness, and hearing footsteps and growls right next to them. Some have even been shoved, scratched, or had rocks thrown at them by some unseen force. Now, whether it's Washburn's angry spirit or something even older and darker, one thing is for sure, if you go looking for the Goat Man, he just might find you first. San Antonio has its fair share of ghosts as well, but none are quite as bizarre as the Donkey Lady. Donkey Lady Bridge, a quiet little crossing over Elm Creek, is said to be the site of some pretty eerie encounters. If you're brave enough to visit at night, just be warned, you might not leave with your windshield intact. The story of the Donkey Lady is as tragic as it is creepy. Some say she was a woman who was horribly burned in a fire set by her husband. Her skin melted and twisted until she resembled something less than human. Her, hands burned down to stumps. They kind of looked like hooves. Her face was, you get the picture. Others claim she was attacked and thrown into the river where she drowned, along with her pet donkey, which she loved very much. Either way, the legend says that she now haunts the bridge, appearing as this hunched, shadowy figure with glowing eyes, long limbs, and a face that resembles a twisted version of a donkey. Some have even seen the figure charging toward their car, only to disappear at the last second. Others swear she's left dents on their vehicles in the shape of hooves, broken their windows, or left deep scratches along their doors. If you really want to test your luck, drive onto the bridge, turn off your lights, and honk 3 times. Some say she'll come running. Others say she'll just watch, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Next up is Egypt Road Bridge in Salem, Ohio. One of those infamous crybaby bridges that every state seems to have. You've probably heard stories where people claim to hear eerie cries coming from the bridges. Egypt Road Bridge is one of them, said to be haunted by the ghosts of children who met a tragic fate. To even get to this bridge, you have to park your car and walk because it's been closed off for a pretty long time. In one version of the tale, a young couple got so caught up in an argument that they didn't notice their youngster had toddled right off the bridge, straight into the water below. Another version says a mother leapt after her baby to save it, only for both of them to drown, while the devastated father supposedly ran into the woods and just vanished. Unlike a lot of ghost stories that only come alive at night, people claim Egypt Road Bridge is active 24/7. But while the ghost stories might be urban legends, something real did happen near this bridge. In 2010, a burned out van was found parked close by, and inside were the remains of 60-year-old Ardis Bowman, who had been killed, and the case is still unsolved. If you ever find yourself in Bourbon County, Kentucky, you might come across the Colville Covered Bridge, a pretty little spot over Hingston Creek that hides some creepy history. Built in 1877, this bridge has been through a lot, including a full dismantling and rebuild in the 90s, but it's not the structure itself that freaks people out, it's what's supposedly lurking there. The most famous legend takes place in the 1930s when a pair of teenagers were driving home from prom. They lost control of their car and went right off the bridge, straight into the cold water below. And ever since, strange lights have been seen flickering under the bridge at night, almost as if the ghosts of those teens are still stuck there, reliving their final moments. But they aren't the only ones said to haunt the bridge. There's also the ghost of Sarah Mitchell, an elderly woman who apparently died while crossing it on foot. Dunvegan Bridge up in Alberta, Canada isn't just one of the largest suspension bridges in the country, it might also be one of the most haunted. This one starts in 1960, the same year the bridge was completed. 2 men were driving through a brutal snowstorm when they reached the bridge and suddenly had to slam on their brakes. There, right in the middle of the road, was a woman in white, partially obscured by the falling snow. She was wearing a hooded white cloak and was barefoot, just standing there completely unbothered. Now, being decent people, the men tried to offer her a ride, but she just stood there, not even acknowledging them. Unnerved, now they drove off, but couldn't shake what they saw. And over the next few nights, they kept coming back to the bridge with more friends, hoping to find her again. And then one night they did. She was off to the side of the road, barefoot in the snow, picking berries in the middle of winter. And that's when they realized this wasn't some lost traveler, this was someone or something from beyond. And finally, we have Hell's Bridge in Rockford, Michigan. This one dates back to the late 1800s, when youngsters in town started going missing. Eventually, the locals were at a loss. So one night, the entire town set off on this massive search party. Before they left, they entrusted the remaining kids to a seemingly harmless old man named Elias Frisk. Big mistake. Turns out Frisk was a full-blown psychopath. He led the young ones deep into the woods, claiming that he knew where their missing friends were. Instead, he eliminated them one by one, tossing their bodies into the river. By the time the townspeople returned, they found Frisk alone, muttering over and over, "The devil made me do it. The devil made me do it." That was the last thing he ever said, because the town hanged him right then and there on the very bridge where he'd led the young people to their deaths. Today, some claim they can hear the cries of the young ones, while others swear they've seen shadowy figures lurking in the woods. The worst part, some say that whatever possessed Frisk may still be out there waiting. With all that said, I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.